Team, welcome to episode 31. Time flies no matter what. And we have a cool class today, especially for the Instagram fans out there. But last week we had a lot of fun with our presentations. I learned a lot, and it was really cool to see what you guys were talking about. One thing I noticed, though, was that many of these classes started talking about procrastination, how to avoid it, how it can be a problem in our lives. And what we will be doing today, our audacious goal is to turn the biggest procrastination tool I know of, Instagram, into some excellent English practice. So I've compiled a big list of 100 pages you guys can use so that instead of just and wasting your time uh, on your social media pages, you can actually be practicing some English. So that's our big goal today. But let's see what we've got. So I started with some different Instagram posts and 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. This is how fast you can turn this into an English practice. Describe what you saw. Send it to a friend who you think might enjoy it. Ask them a question. Find a new word, a new expression that might not be familiar. But it's up to you to turn your leisure time into growth or not. And both are fine. Sometimes we do not want to study, but we should be able to identify how we want to use our time. Leveraging Instagram. This is a cool word that we do not have in Portuguese. But when you leverage something, imagine an actual lever, you are using something's maximum potential with as little effort as possible. So when I say leveraging Instagram, what I'm saying is we can use it for our benefit, little effort. And a nod, one more vocab word, this is a nod, when you're nodding your head instead of shaking. So next up, so, to, and not enough. And this is mainly for my Brazilian students, and it's something that I hear almost every single day, which is when they use to mean something excellent, too funny, too good, too delicious. And we cannot do that in English because to, it has a negative connotation of it passed the limit, it passed the point. And I made this little meme to kind of show it. Imagine you go to a restaurant and you don't eat enough, it's bad, I'm still hungry. And then you eat enough, I'm good here, I'm good. And I eat too much, oh my God, I'm sick. And then you might need to take a Tums, which is what you use when you have your stomach is acting up, especially if you eat too much. So if you use to, remember you're turning something into a bad thing. So that's our first point. To always carries that negative connotation. Second point of the day, so versus such, and they are similar. So we're kind of using to emphasize, while such we're actually making a comparison. But in practical terms, when we use such, we need a noun. She is so beautiful, intelligent, funny, cool. If you just stop at the adjectives, it should be so. But as soon as I say she is such an intelligent person, she is such a cool lady, then if you include a noun, you do need to turn it into a such. I do not make the rules. And I think it's just because of this comparison versus exaggeration form. But they work out to be pretty similar. And so very really, if you really do use too much, you can use any of these to emphasize something. And I would say that very you need to use for gradable adjectives. So like you can say very good, you can't say very excellent. But if you say it was so excellent, I guess it would be more acceptable. Then let me see, it's really excellent. No, you can't use really either. So I guess just so would have that flexibility of being used with ungradable adjectives as well. And our expression of the week. Have you ever jumped the gun and celebrated too early? This happened at the Olympics, where the British, I guess English, I think it's English, Olympic team, they started celebrating thinking they had won, but they actually came in fourth, so no medal for them. Extra credit is pretty funny, more or less than funny. Think about this, and I will answer at the end of the PDF. Some back office about our class last week, and I thought it was very successful. Other people might not have felt the same, but what I noticed was that while some of my students were a little bit anxious before, at the end, I would say the vast majority was satisfied with their work. So I'm thinking about doing it more times a year. Let me know what you think. And our talking point, procrastination. And I heard some really cool things this week. What is procrastination? My favorite definition, I think, was when you are not doing what you would like to be doing, because there is a time for everything. And if you are doing what you've planned on doing, I do not feel that it is procrastination. But your favorite ways to procrastinate, I remember when I had my dog Ozzy, he was one of my favorites. This one is Felipe. I know Gabi and Hafa mentioned that he is excellent when they should be studying to play with him. And we have some other points that you can discuss for your English practice. And what is your number one tip to deal with, that should be to deal with procrastination? What is my number one tip to deal with procrastination? Define your sprint. I know people who work with IT companies, they use this term sprint for their weekly goal. And I think it's important for us to know what we should be doing when. It does not need to be exact. But if you know I'm going to work hard until this time, and then later on I'm going to forget work, I think it becomes easier to avoid procrastination. It seems that the procrastination creeps in when we have that doubt or too many options. And here we go, our big, giant Instagram list. And we have all types of pages, memes for runners. This one I think is great to have some visual metaphors. My favorite, RP Strength is my favorite fitness influencer at the moment. Upworthy, happy memes, and we have all kinds. I put some pictures with some of them, but take a look, try some random ones, try some new ones, try something different, because it is a chance for you to be practicing your English. Next time somebody says, oh my God, you're on your phone too much, but I am studying English. And all of a sudden you will have leveraged Instagram for some English growth. Zach Pogrob, I don't know how he pronounces his name, Zach Pogrob, but I like his style. Let me say some more. Language nerds, this one, it's some curiosities about English, not really meant for English learners, but it works perfectly for my English students as well. Modern Family, The Office, learn with some series. 90s Nostalgic, one of the best decades ever. And we have some recommendations for my students, lots of good stuff. I like this one right here, Lions, Tigers in English from a South African zookeeper. I don't know if that's how they call it, but he has a bunch of lions and it's really cool. BBC, they do a really good job providing some content for English learners. Louisa introduced me to this one, Accurate English, great for pronunciation. Charles, he's an American friend of mine. If you want some baseball and memes in your life, good pick. You see some more. Skateboarders, I'm not really a skateboarder, but I know a lot of people do enjoy it. So good skateboarding page. But team, the only wrong answer is to not be practicing. These are just a bunch of options. Check them out. You didn't like it, stop following it. I already found 100. I'm sure you can find other ones that are more directly related to your interests. And our answer to the question above. While pretty, when we are using it to describe another adjective, is a mannerism. Personally, I think that we actually reduce the adjective a little bit. And for you to test this out, all you need to do is to try to emphasize something. I can say the movie was so funny. It was really funny. It was very funny. If I say it was pretty funny, it doesn't work. Doesn't really match. But if I say, yeah, it was pretty funny, so, it does work. So while it is a mannerism, doesn't really mean anything. Pretty should be like for something that has a feminine beauty, the opposite of handsome, something with a more masculine beauty. We use pretty to describe adjectives, and it's just a thing we do. I do it all the time. But if you are unconscious about this, realize that you are actually reducing the adjective just a little bit. All right, team. Thank you. Lots of cool stuff. Check out this list, and I hope to see you in class.